tuning into Halton News right here on your TV. It's Friday, July 10th, and I'm Jessica Kaitting. Taking a look at today's COVID numbers, our total active cases in the Halton region today is 43. There are 10 active cases in both Burlington, another 10 in Oakville, 20 in Milton, and Halton Hills only has 3 current active cases. There was a double shooting in Burlington's Aldershot community this afternoon. There's still a heavy police presence in the area, and the road is closed between King Road and Falcon Boulevard as police conduct a thorough investigation. I was on the scene earlier for an update from Constable Ryan Anderson of the Halton Police.
Called to the scene at 484 Plains Road East here in Burlington approximately 1:10 p.m. this afternoon for a report of a shooting. I can confirm for you that 2 people have been shot. We do have 1 deceased victim. All victims are male. The other male who was shot is currently in serious to critical condition in hospital. We do have a 3rd victim with undetermined injuries in hospital as well. I can't confirm whether that victim's been shot or how they sustained their injuries. Okay.
Is any aspect of this investigation focusing on a possible connection to organized crime?
Investigators are going to be looking at open to all aspects but at this point it's way too early to determine any sort of motive.
Police are appealing to the public for video footage. If you have any from your dash camera, home video, or business surveillance video in the area between 11 a.m. and 1:30 this afternoon, please contact police or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. On Wednesday of this week, Finance Minister Bill Morneau updated the country on our current financial situation. Rather than a traditional fiscal statement, this announcement was being referred to as an economic and fiscal snapshot. We spoke with MP Karina Gould for more.
On Wednesday, many Canadians tuned in to the Finance Minister's fiscal snapshot that he presented in the House of Commons, which presented what the economy has gone through over the past couple of months, and what we're projecting as best as we can to the end of the year. So there was quite a significant number, $384 billion projected to be added to our national debt this year. However, we've also gone through the biggest crisis in peacetime since the end of World War II. And so when we think about what the government has been spending on, it's things like the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, which supported at one time over 8 million Canadians. Right now, there are still about 5 million Canadians collecting CERB. And so today, for example, the jobs numbers came out. Almost 1 million new jobs were added this past month. But we're still, have only returned to half of our number of jobs that we lost since March. So, we're going through the recovery, and I'm sure people in Burlington notice, more stores are open, more restaurants and patios are open, there's more cars on the road, but we're not out of the woods yet. And so, the government of Canada has been very clear throughout all of this, whether you're an individual, whether you're a business, whether you're a charity, we've got your back if you want to weather this storm. And so that was the big news of the week, was the economic snapshot. And of course, recognizing that a number of these measures are going to carry on throughout the summer and into the fall. It's also encouraging to note that almost 700,000 businesses took advantage of the Canada Emergency Business Account, right? And so that means that those businesses are in a better position to get back and open and running when things get back to whatever the new normal looks like. And so these are, important measures that the government of Canada did to protect the healthy, safety, and economic well-being of Canadians so that we can get through this crisis together.
Thank you for that, Karina. And while we have you here today, would you be able to comment on the Conservatives calling for a criminal investigation into the WE scandal?
Well, so first of all, I would just like to say that the program that the Government of Canada put forward, the Canada Summer Student Grant Program, was designed with the intention of enabling young people across the country who work with service organizations to make sure that we're providing, that they have the support that they need to provide services to the most vulnerable in our community. I think it's very unfortunate how all of this transpired. But I think what is clear that the Prime Minister will obviously, comply with the ethics investigation that is ongoing, the We Charity has decided not to provide this this service. But I do think what is unfortunate is that we will not be able to roll this program out to make sure that students are able to volunteer and provide services with service organizations across the country. However, as the Prime Minister has stated, he will fully comply with the investigation from the Ethics Office.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us here today?
No, just try to stay as cool as possible during this heat wave. The city of Burlington has already reopened the LaSalle pool, and this weekend they'll be opening Nelson and Mountainside outdoor pools. There are no walk-ins; you have to sign up online. But if you need an opportunity to cool down, those are great things to do. And they're also making sure that there are cooling centers available. So if you don't have air conditioning or you're really hot, make sure that you get yourself somewhere where you can cool down. It's really important for your health and safety. And of course, there are protocols and procedures in place to protect you from COVID as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time today.
Okay, thank you, Jessica.
Masks will be mandatory in Halton Hills. The decision was passed at council. Melissa Candelaria has that story.
Councillor Johnson, will you move this motion?
Absolutely will. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hurst, will you second this motion?
I certainly will. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, if there are no objections, please call the motion as carried.
I don't see any objections. I think it's same unanimous as we were on Monday, so I call the motion accepted. Thank you, everybody. This is an important decision we made today.
Halton Hills is the first municipality in Halton to issue a mandatory masks bylaw. The bylaw was passed at a special council meeting Thursday. Councillor John Hurst says it was a lengthy discussion.
And we did hear from residents who were both pro and con on the issue. And but at the end of the day, we did have advice from Dr. Nadia Alam, who actually presented at our meeting as a delegation, and she gave us some great information on why masks do make a difference. And as Mayor Bennett said, our numbers are low. We want to keep them that way.
Now, there was some concern on how this bylaw would affect those who cannot wear masks. Hurst does say there is a list of exemptions
that would look after addressing the concerns of people who would have difficulty for several different reasons, be it medical or perhaps a mental issue. That is in our bylaw, and those exemptions are recognized.
This decision comes ahead of a Halton Region meeting set to take place July 15th that will look at issuing a region-wide mandatory mask bylaw. If passed, it would make this bylaw obsolete. Hurst says despite the outcome next week, Council felt they needed to be proactive now.
We know that our mayors have been, of the 4 municipalities, have been discussing the bylaw issue, and Halton Hills has always been a municipality that we are always proactive. We like to believe that we can make decisions on our own, and that especially when we know that they are to the benefit of our community. That's why we've gone ahead.
The bylaw outlines that if you are caught not wearing a mask in an enclosed public space, you could face a fine of up to $500. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria.
Meanwhile, it doesn't look like the town of Milton or Oakville will pass a specific bylaw just yet, but they did pass a motion requesting Halton Region enact one region-wide. Burlington is considering a bylaw. It was passed at the committee level and will be sent to council on Monday. Yesterday, we had Kristen Curry of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce on here talking about their Welcome Back Oakville campaign, encouraging residents to get back out, shop, and eat locally. Of course, this is just as important in Burlington as well, so we spoke with MPP Jane McKenna about the push to support local business here.
So we want to be a local lifeline for Burlington. It's we want the viral competition, and McLean said we were the #1 city in Canada. Well, we want to be the #1 shopper in Ontario. So I was just actually listening to the Premier, and he was talking about that if 1 in 10 people shop locally, that brings 20 to 30 billion dollars to keep manufacturing and businesses in Ontario. So how wonderful is that, right? And that's just 1 in 10 people. So we've got something that we've just put out today, and hopefully people will champion on that, so that you can tell us where the gems are that you're shopping, and that we can be the number one people in Burlington, as well as the number one city, to continue getting our businesses that have been very supportive of our community to be able to support them.
Well, and I think, of course, some of us were raring to go and get out shopping as soon as we could and going to those local restaurants on the patio, and others were more concerned and more comfortable staying at home. But perhaps with more people wearing masks and it potentially being mandatory going forward, that will help support those other people get out and support local companies as well.
And I think everybody has their own mindset on being gradually coming back into the community. But I do know, and I say this all the time, and Jessica, you say this as well, that Burlington is a very thoughtful and generous community in normal times, but they've really stepped up to the plate in the times that we have right now. But it is so important to be a local lifeline for Burlington, to make sure that all of the people that invested in us, that we continue to invest in them and get out in shops, support restaurants, bakeries, whoever we can, to make sure that they are successful, because they're as successful as we are, and vice versa.
Recently, we've seen yet another Burlington restaurant unfortunately have to close its doors. How much feedback are you getting on that? Are there more businesses that you think might close down soon, or are we starting to see the turn where us getting back out there and supporting these businesses is starting to help?
Well, today it came out that 378,000 people have been employed, and I think in Canada it was a little over 900,000. So the employment rate's gone down to, I think, 12.3. We have a long way to go, but we've done a good job in the month of June to be able to get people back, back to being employed. And let's just keep our fingers crossed. If we keep supporting people, then they won't have to shut their doors, and they're looking for us to support them. And I think this is, as sad as COVID-19 has been, it has really rallied us as communities to support the people that are the most important to us. And hopefully with all of us doing that, that we will not have any more businesses closed down in Burlington.
Okay, thank you so much for taking the time to share that with us today, Jane.
Thanks so much.
In light of COVID-19, the Sound of Music Festival had to go virtual this year. Nikki Wesley caught up with the executive director, Miles Russick, to see how the community responded.
The Sound of Music Festival was forced to evolve this year into Som at Home. Now that the streaming performances and online artist panels sessions are wrapping up, Executive Director Miles Russick shares how it's going.
At home, it is going incredibly well. It's probably going better than we ever initially expected it to. People are at home. Everyone they miss crowds, and they miss gathering, and they miss live music, and they miss that experience of sharing music together. So I think that being able to stream these artists to their home has been, kind of the best that you can get right now.
While the festival hopes to be back at Spencer Smith Park next year, it won't just be business as usual.
We're going to find ways to incorporate Som at Home into our regular brand and take pieces of what we've learned and incorporate it on the road ahead. So I think it's going to be a great kind of hybrid. Pieces like the Artist Summit and even some streaming of artists at the festival that we can do both in person and online. So now, if you don't have the opportunity to come down to Spencer Smith Park and see, so-and-so talk about songwriting, you can still dial in and have that experience at home.
Even though the festival didn't run this year, there were still costs. With loss of ticket sales for the paid concert, reduced grants, and companies reducing or completely withdrawing sponsorship to stay in business themselves, the Celebrate Ontario grant was very welcome news last week.
When we found out that we were getting Celebrate, we thought that it was going to be a complete write-off. We wouldn't receive Celebrate, and we were kind of all scratching our heads going, what do we do now? And then this amazing news came out. And so, $100,000 is significant funding to our festival. It is going to help us not only keep the lights on, but continue to move forward with some positive momentum into next year.
Looking into 2021, Russick estimates the Sound of Music is down $1.8 million and will still have to innovate.
We'll likely be moving into some fundraising just so that we can kind of help to, we don't want to just weather the storm. Like, we want to come out of it giving Burlington and Halton and everybody the party to celebrate that we're back and let's do this. So that's what we're looking for help, is really help us achieve our new goals moving forward and just help us put on the party we all want.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
Thanks for being with us here on Halton News. We do need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with an update on how you can help improve the look of your community this summer. Stay with us. Welcome back to Halton News. Halton Environmental Network has a new initiative to help you clean up your neighborhood. Nikki Wesley has more.
With Earth Day events canceled, community cleanups that normally would have taken place after the spring thaw simply didn't happen this year. Halton Environmental Network Waste Diversion Manager Dorian Knight announces a new program.
Our pop-up cleanups program is a framework that allows people to easily and effectively and safely run cleanups all over the town of Oakville. It's actually super simple. It's only 3 steps. You sign up for your cleanup, so you register, you get your equipment, run your cleanup, and then you collect data as you run your cleanup, and then you upload the data to my Google form that I have.
The town of Oakville will provide gloves and garbage bags that you can pick up at the Service Oakville desk. The data collected will be used to further Halton Environmental Network's work in waste prevention.
How we consume, it's a cycle. We consume, and then we use the product, and then we throw it out. So if we're able to collect data on how we're consuming, we can better affect environmental policy, so that way the stuff that we throw out isn't harmful to the environment. If we find that so much of the litter is maybe item A, and item A is super bad for the environment, and 90% of the litter that we find is that item, well, then we can take that information and we can say, hey guys, this is what we're finding, and this is what we really need to change. So that way it doesn't end up in our waterways, in our creeks, in our trails.
What sort of results does Knight anticipate from the cleanups?
What I foresee happening is that we will end up finding more, not just because those cleanups didn't happen, but because this is a framework that people can use all the time. You don't only clean up your kitchen, one time a year, you clean it maybe once a week or so. We can hopefully have a sustained effort to clean up our community.
There's a silver lining to the program that will help students affected by pandemic cancellations.
A big part of the program that I'm super happy about is it gives high school students an opportunity to volunteer in their community. With a lot of the volunteer opportunities unfortunately going away because of our current situation, high school students still need to get to their community service limit, and they still need those 40 hours. That problem just doesn't magically disappear. So what this program hopes to be able to do is, you as a high school student, you can make your own volunteer opportunities. Register to do a cleanup maybe every 2 weeks, so maybe over the summer you end up doing 5 cleanups, and each cleanup being 2 hours, that's 10 hours. You're already a quarter of the way to your 40 hours.
Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
Here's a look out over our beautiful escarpment on this blistering hot day. There's a 40% chance that we will see thunderstorms this evening. That humidity will continue. We won't see cooler temperatures so much until tomorrow, on Sunday, It's going to be 40% chance of rain on Sunday, 60% chance on Monday. That sunshine will come back out on Tuesday, hitting 28 degrees, and then back to rain on Wednesday. So much different than the sunshine we experienced this week. The Ontario Junior Hockey League announced today that Matt Hobbs of the Burlington Cougars is the inaugural recipient of the OJHL's Cliff Bar OJHL Community Hero Award. In a statement, OJHL Commissioner Marty Savoy said, "Matt is a shining example of good deeds being done across our league. He's very deserving of this honor. We congratulate Matt and thank Cliff Bar for their ongoing support of our 500-plus players." The 21-year-old is committed to NCAA Division III school Marian University in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin for next season. And now a look to how some of our local companies are faring in the markets today. We'll be back with your latest update from the Burlington Food Bank after this. Welcome back to Halton News. I'm Jessica Kaitting. Up now, we have our latest update from the Burlington Food Bank's Executive Director, Robin Bailey.
Just wanted to share a little bit of information about the history of food banking. Up until about 10 years ago, most food banks were really just dealing in non-perishables. So it was just your basic interior part of a grocery store is the food that we were able to distribute. Food banks realized that with that came a lot of health problems for people who were using our food banks, and so we started to change and we started to add milk, eggs, bread, and most importantly produce to add to a far more nutritious diet. And so that's one of the things that we've been doing here at the food bank for quite a while at the Burlington Food Bank. And during COVID, we've even upped it substantially with the help from St. Christopher's Open Doors program. They took a little bit of a break from running their food bank and have added to what we've been doing here at the Burlington Food Bank, and have been able to add a lot of produce, so fruits and vegetables, to the diets of our clients beyond what we're also adding. So they're purchasing and we're purchasing, and we're making sure that people are getting a much healthier diet than what they would normally get, as well as the non-perishables, the milk, the eggs, all of those types of things. So if you're in need of help, make sure that you're contacting us. info@burlingtonfoodbank.ca, 905-637-2273.
If you're a runner and you want to give back to one of our local hospitals, VR Pro has created the virtual race for you. You can run anytime between now and the end of August. $15 will go towards Joseph Brant Hospital. For more information and to register, please visit vrpro.ca/events. I'd like to thank you for watching this evening. If you'd like more content, please visit us online at urtv.tv. If you have any questions, comments, or story ideas, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us via email at haltonnews@cogeco.com. We're also active on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please follow us at URTV Halton. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kaitting, and I thank you for watching.